Welcome to Thinking is Contagious, and a lot of things to talk about. I want to jump right into it. The birther issue, I don't know if you've seen this come up, and President Trump retweeted the op-ed or commented on the op-ed through a tweet of the attorney Eatman, the professor attorney Eatman. In my opinion, it's a baseless op-ed. It is the same thing as when Ted Cruz was running for president. I'm a Ted Cruz guy. I'm a big Ted Cruz supporter. It was a non-issue with Ted Cruz. It should be a non-issue with a Democrat as well. She was born in this country, period. But instead of answering that way, guess how the liberal Democrats answered? With racism and misogyny. And that shows you where this country's going. That shows you what this campaign is going to be like. And that shows you why you need to stop supporting it. Why we need to stand up against it, because the only people that interjected race into this equation were the liberals. They bring up race. They play the race card when things are not convenient for them. They play the race card. Okay. Speaking of, I've heard a lot about reparations lately, and I want you to understand one thing. Did you know that Kamala Harris was involved in the slave trade? Yeah, I'll tell you how. And it's not slave per se, but it's pretty close. California counts on, this was back in the early 2010-11 era when she was the attorney general for the state. California counts a lot on prisoners to do a lot of the work with forest fires, with landscape, with cleanup, maintenance. And it's a very inexpensive labor. Taxpayers footing the bill for these inmates' room and board. So, of course, I think it's a good idea, have them work. What California did when their prisons started getting very overcrowded, they passed legislation. And this legislation, what it meant was to make it easier to release prisoners of nonviolent type of offenses, cut their sentences short, put them out early, in order to create more space for the more violent, more offenders that were more serious offenders. What did Kamala Harris do? She opposed this releasing or lowering, releasing prisoners based on the not having committed violent crimes. She opposed it. On what ground did she oppose it? She opposed it because she said it would negatively impact California's cheap labor. Guess what that is? Is that not a form of slavery? Cheap labor, let's keep them in prison even though they're eligible for early release. And remember, these were people who were volunteering to do the wildfires and the cleanup in order to get time off of their sentence. Now they no longer had to volunteer because they were being offered this in order to make prison space. So what does she do? She opposes it. She wants to keep them there longer so she can make them work for free. That's your Kamala Harris. You want to know who Kamala Harris is too? Her father was pretty clear in an opinion he wrote, David Harris, Jamaican gentleman. And I'll tell you what it was based on. She did an interview with Charlemagne the God. And in that interview, Charlemagne the God asked him if she ever smoked pot. And you know what she did? In her cool, hip way, just like Joe Biden talks in his cool, hip way. If you ain't voting for me, you ain't black. Her cool, hip way. Are you kidding? She says, I'm Jamaican. And I inhale too. That's what she said. What is that stereotyping? Jamaicans. What is that saying about what she's saying? You know what her father said? And I'm going to read a little bit of it. He says, my ancestors, my grandmother, must be turning over in her grave to see the family name and the reputation as proud Jamaicans, okay, as proud Jamaicans, identify being, Jamaican identity, being connected with this stereotyping. Pot smoking, joy seeking, stereotyping of Jamaicans. And she fed right into it and said, David Harris, her father, closes out by saying, speaking for myself and immediate family, we wish to distance ourselves from this travesty. Okay? That's Kamala Harris's father, Jamaican father. Okay? We know who she is. I've already touched on this with you guys before about her going on Colbert. And when he said, how can you basically be buddy-buddy with Joe Biden after you accused him of racism? And her response was, it was a debate. In other words, nothing she says is real. Okay? What she says is what she needs to say for the betterment and the advancement of Kamala Harris Incorporated, period. If anyone owned slaves, of all these people that we're talking to, you, me, everyone listening here, if anyone had anything to do with slavery, she's the closest thing to it with her decision in California. Okay? The closest thing to it. She's bad. There's a reason why she garnered 2 or 3% when she was running on the Democratic ticket, when she was running in the primaries as a Democrat for president. It's a reason why no one voted for her. No one's going to vote for her now. She is not an honest person. She is not a sincere person. She is not the person that you need in this position. Kamala Harris, big problems. Big problems. Hope this is something that you find interesting. And if it is, I would love to see you send it around, comment on it, tell me what your thoughts are, if I'm right, if I'm wrong, if you agree, if you disagree, and get me some subscribers. Really, you can do it. Get me some subscribers. Let's make this message reach as far as it can before that November, fateful day in November, when we get to elect Donald Trump for a second term. All right? Thank you. Have a good day.